Move on to a little politics, and let's talk about the race for the White House, where the final numbers are in from last Thursday night's presidential debate. Ratings indicate that more than 51 million people watched the debate, where former President Donald Trump repeatedly made false claims, by the way, and President Biden struggled to dispel concerns about his age. The debate opened up new worries over the stakes of a possible Trump presidency and sparked discussion about whether Biden should be his party's nominee. Personally speaking, I'm on the record. I don't believe that should be the case. I'm not apologizing for that to anybody. But I want to emphasize something. It's of no disrespect to President Biden. If you are on the left, you're looking at the economy, you're looking at job participation, you're looking at the economic numbers, you're thinking about so many other things that are transpiring. You're thinking about Roe v. Wade and Biden's desire to turn that back to what it once was before it was overturned a year ago. You're thinking about so many things on a positive note, and you're of the mindset that this president has done a relatively good job. If you're on the right,
I can't. I just got to dispute everything you just said, Stephen A. Smith. Welcome back, Warriors. It's me, Linda B. Thank you all so much for joining me here today. Today, I have some thoughts from Stephen A. Smith after the debate. Now, you know he's a lefty, but before we get back into it, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, watch the video all the way to the very end. Now, we all saw the debate. It had a huge viewing audience. Most of us saw the debate, but some people who are pro-Biden saw him struggling and just immediately turned off the television. I know someone like that. They couldn't take it. Hard to handle the truth. You can't handle the truth. But it was a hot mess. And so if you want to hear, now we have Stephen A. Smith giving his thoughts, his very important thoughts. But I got to say something about what you're saying, Stephen A. Smith, and I'm going to say it right now based on what we just heard a moment ago. You're saying Donald Trump lied about everything, but exactly what did he lie about? They can never answer that question. Lefties always say, oh, by the way, he lied. Just like Joy Behar on The View. She said, well, Donald Trump lied in a very clear voice, but no one ever says what he lied about. What exactly did he lie about? And Stephen A. Smith said things that are of a positive nature, talking about restoring Roe v. Wade. It's not positive for the baby that's being dismantled. Oh, these lefties. They just get on my last nerve.
Think we should be drug tested because we must be smoking something. You're thinking about inflation. You're thinking about the border security. You're thinking about crime percolating throughout the United States of America. You're thinking about woke culture. You're saying, what on earth are you talking about? Either way you slice it, I'm not going to apologize for what I feel, because I think the point that everybody is missing is that for me personally, I'm not judging the job that Joe Biden has done as president. I'll leave that to the aficionados to do on both sides of the aisle, for that matter. What I'm talking about is an individual. If you look at the tape, if you look at video, if you see him from just 4 years ago in 2020 compared to what he looks like now, yes, as Representative James Clyburn said Sunday morning on CNN, along with various other surrogates of Joe Biden, he's always had a stuttering issue. We didn't see stuttering, ladies and gentlemen. We saw brain farts. That's what we saw. And you see a man that, as Chris Cuomo articulated Friday on this very show, has clearly lost his fastball. I think that people are conflating the arguments. They're talking about the job that he has done, because if you're a leftist, if you're a liberal, if you're a progressive, you certainly appreciate the job that Joe Biden has done and the job that Joe Biden has tried to do compared to what you would get from a Donald Trump president.
Appreciate the job that Joe Biden did. Stephen A. Smith, a few months ago, you were ranting and raving about the illegal immigrants getting debit cards and being put up in hotels and getting all sorts of money and free things. You were ranting and raving. Who can appreciate the job? What job did Joe Biden do? Open the border and cause illegals to come in and murder and rape. How is that appreciating the job? Oh, and speaking about jobs, the illegals are taking Black jobs, Hispanic jobs, jobs from Americans. They're taking jobs from Americans. Those illegals are. Yes, they send them to the hoods and to the poor areas and make the poor people even poorer. The ones who are law-abiding citizens, Americans, taxpayers, we're legal. And we don't get the assistance that these illegals are getting. But yet, you say we certainly can't appreciate the job. That's not what you were saying before. Who got to you, Stephen A. Smith? You spineless jellyfish.
Let's see. That's one argument, and I get that part. That's not what this is about. This is about Joe Biden looking at him and asking yourself, is he the ideal candidate for the next 4 years, starting in January of 2025? That's what this.
I got to see this because, So we have the Biden-Harris administration accomplishments, according to this White House. Rallied the world to support the U country in response to Putin's aggression. Well, we all know about what really happened with that, the MIC, money going to that country and turning around, making a U-turn into certain people's accounts. Strengthened alliances and partnerships to deliver for the American people. Only thing we've been delivered is high inflation, gas prices, food prices, and illegal immigrants all over the place. Successful counterterrorism missions against the leader of Al-Qaeda and ISIS. Some of them are coming across the border. Back to that whole immigration problem. So we have executive orders protecting reproductive rights. It's not protecting the right of the unborn child to live. Historic student loan debt for middle and working class families. Well, the Supreme Court did not actually go along with that. Ending our failed approach to marijuana. You mean you want us to smoke it more? And more people with health insurance than ever before, delivering on the most aggressive climate and environmental justice agenda in American history. If you know anything about the whole climate change agenda, it is just one of those things that they call a thing that's really not a good thing. And honestly, something pretty much on conservative sides are made up, more like a sham.
New York Times calls Biden's campaign for re-election, quote, a reckless gamble. The New Yorker magazine says Biden, quote, is no longer a fluid or effective communicator. The Chicago Tribune said last week's debate should be met with just one word, enough. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution says, quote, it's time for Biden to pass the torch.
Okay. Are they smoking marijuana like on a consistent basis in the Biden White House? It says lowering costs of families' everyday expenses. How is that an accomplishment? You didn't lower mine. You all tell me, did it lower yours? I'm paying more at the gas pump and for groceries. Me and my youngest and our youngest child, we love eating eggs. But if you like eating eggs, try to make them stretch because they are more expensive. Everything costs more. How are they lowering expenses? I can't with these people. More people are working than at any point in American history. Does that include the illegal people that are over here? Are you including that in your job numbers? Making more in America. Oh, by using China? I can't with these stats. I just can't. The information coming, these accomplishments, I can't.
I won't get into the CBS, YouGov poll, the USA Today, Suffolk University poll, the Morning Consult poll, the CNN flash poll of debate watchers that saw Trump beating Biden 67% to 33%. I won't even get into all of that. I'm only articulating those points to point out that there's millions upon millions of people that are concerned about what we witnessed Thursday night in that debate. When Biden mumbled and Trump said, I don't understand what he said. I don't think he understands what he said. This is the soundbite you're going to hold on to. When he sat up there and forgot what he was talking about and buried his head and looked like he was about to fall asleep and then looked up and said, Medicaid, this is what we're going to talk about. Chris Cuomo brought this up, not me. And so I just think it's important for me personally to say to the president, President Biden, I know you categorically and emphatically denied that you ever said that you were a transitional president. And so did your administration. I get those denials. But there is no question that there were many people who thought you said that and had the impression that you were just in it to save our democracy, because in 2020, we were in such a bad state of affairs that we desperately needed you. But those 4 years were supposed to buy 4 years for Kamala Harris, for Gavin Newsom, governor of California, for Wes Moore, even the governor of Maryland, for Hakeem Jeffries, who's
all those Clifton lefties he's naming. He said we were in such a bad shape in 2020. The main thing that was bad about 2020 was the pandemic. That was the bad thing. Things were going well. Interest rates were low. Prices were low. The border secure. Funding for HBCUs, First Step Act, economy booming. What in the world is Stephen A. Smith talking about? We didn't need Biden. We certainly needed you. What do you mean we needed you? Stephen A., are you okay? Somebody pray for Stephen A. Smith. Something wrong.
In the House of Representatives, or various other viable candidates to take over the job that are considerably younger. Joe Biden has been in the Senate for 36 years. That's how long he was in the Senate. Then he served 8 years as the vice president of the United States of America. And now he's given us 4 more years as president. That is 48 years as a servant of the people, as an elected official, as somebody who's committed to serve. How come we can't look at the president of the United States and simply say, we appreciate your service to this country. Thank you so much. You've done a great service in the eyes of millions of people throughout this country, but it's time for somebody else. What's wrong with that? Let's keep in mind that Bill Maher, for Real Time with Bill Maher on HBO, called Biden on Friday Ruth Bader Biden. Why did he say that? Because the former Supreme Court Justice of these United States, who did a phenomenal job as a Supreme Court Justice in the eyes of so many millions of American citizens. The most glaring mistake she made was when the Obama administration was calling for her to retire so they could select her successor and to make sure that there was another liberal on the court. She said no because she was convinced there was no way in hell Donald Trump could win the election. She thought Hillary was going to win it, and she wanted the first female president to elect her successor as a Supreme Court justice. She was wrong. Trump won. She ultimately passed away, and he got to select her successor along with 2 others, which has drastically flipped the balance of the court 6-3. That's what we're looking at. And so if that happens, and that's in the backdrop for the Democratic Party, why ignore the specter of Joe Biden potentially making the same mistake? Not with direct correlation, but nevertheless, if somebody else, younger, sharper, with their fastball, as Chris Cuomo articulated Friday, was available to fight that fight against Donald Trump, why, approaching the age of 82 with 48 years of service as your backdrop, would you not take the position, let me step aside before the Democratic National Convention and pave the way for somebody else younger to make that move? And I don't mean young as to engage in age discrimination, because there are plenty of people in their 70s and their 80s that are sharp as a tack. Joe Biden doesn't appear to be one of them. And the reason why I use the word appear is because appear is all you need, because appear is all that matters in an election this tight. Why would you not take that position for the betterment of the country? That's all I'm saying. No disrespect, no shade, no questioning the job that he's done, none of that. Simply saying it might not be your time anymore. Ladies and gentlemen, I cover sports. And I'm going to cover sports till the day I die. Every single season, we've seen somebody who are past their prime. It's a player, it's a coach, it's an executive, hell, it's even an owner. We say your time has come. In Minnesota right now with Glenn Taylor, what is Mark Lowry and Alex Rodriguez saying? Your time is up, bro. You signed an agreement with us. Give us ownership, vast majority ownership. Your time is up. You're in your 80s. It's your time. It's not your time anymore. We've seen that happen with executives. We've seen that happen with coaches. We've seen that happen with players. We've seen it happen in the world of sports, in the world of politics, where you are in possession of dominion over our lives, economically, healthcare, national security, borders. The list goes on and on. You trying to tell me that it's okay for an 81, soon to be 82-year-old who's clearly lost his fastball to not have the decency to say, hey, I served my time. I'm good. You can't do that. You can't do that.
Well, Jim Crow Joe has to get past Jill Biden, Hunter Biden, and possibly even former President Obama, who reportedly wants Jim Crow Joe to stay in office. So it's a lot of people in his ear, in Jim Crow Joe's ear, saying, stay, stay, stay. Definitely his wife and son. And if that report about Obama is true, then you can add Obama to the list. And Obama has a lot of pull. Yes, he does. Has a lot of pull. If you know anything about this, you know that Kamala Harris, she would be next in line should Jim Crow Joe drop out. But that doesn't mean she would necessarily be the nominee. They can have an open convention. Yes, but all of this depends on whether or not Joe Biden agrees to drop out. If he doesn't agree, then that's who they're going to go with, because he has to agree. That it all hinges on that. If he does agree to bow out, then you have Kamala Harris as the president. But that, again, does not mean she is the nominee. They can have an open convention, which historically has proven to not be favorable for the party that finds themselves in that position. In 1968, it was the Democrats again who found themselves in that position and lost to Nixon. So historically, history has shown that it is not beneficial to the party who finds themselves trying to pick another candidate. Causes chaos, and they ultimately lose. You all give me your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell. Thank you so much for watching to the end. Also, check out childlightcandles.com. This is a Christian veteran-owned company. They make 100% of their products in America, and they give 25% of their profits to veterans and their families. Check me out on X, TikTok, and Instagram as ChatWithMeLindaB. And I'm also on Rumble, ChatWithMeLindaB, but type it in as all one word when you're on Rumble. Thank you all so much for watching. Be blessed. Love God, your families, these United States of America. And as I always say, march on, warriors.